thankfully we've had a little bit of cloud cover to keep
Yeah.
the heat down a little bit.
I know.
That's always nice. I just want to spend a few minutes talking with you, and then I'll open it up for questions that you might have. We've kind of done this format at every gathering that we've had, and it's given people a chance to let me know what's on their minds too, because I don't often address what's of interest to them. Which is kind of what Mo does. He doesn't address what's of interest to people either. And in fact, he doesn't really care what's of interest to you. He really is
that is for sure.
very narrow in his ideology and very close-minded. And that's not the job of a representative, to be close-minded. Now, absolutely, with a district this geographically and culturally and politically diverse, I'm not going to be in agreement with everybody in the district. But what you do have is my commitment to sit down with everybody in the district, have public, open town hall meetings so that I can hear what people have to say and understand where they're coming from, or at least try to. Because it's only when we understand each other that we really can build a community where everybody has a seat at the table. And we really have lost sight of that value. And there's no question that we're more polarized in our national and our local politics than we've ever been before. And none of us really like that hatred, that division. I hope that all of us want to end that. I know that some of us are pretty invested in fighting with the opposition, kind of like I was the other day. I wish I had a good story about the black eye, but I'm a klutz at heart, and I managed to trip in my bathroom and hit my face on the sink a few nights ago. And so it was not a fight with Mo Brooks.
We like that story.
I have challenged him to debates, and he won't even debate me, let alone get close enough to where we can swap blows with each other. But really, getting back to the heart of what we really need to see, in my view, is we really need to get back to core values, and for those of you who are from faith traditions, really to love your neighbor. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And when we talk about that, we're not talking about love your white neighbor who thinks and looks exactly like you. We're talking about loving everybody and making sure that everyone, including Republicans, have a seat at the table. I do want to hear from them. It really is critical that we have a vibrant and healthy two-party system. We do not right now. We have, in my view, the Republican Party is kind of held hostage by the Trump administration and the Freedom Caucus to a certain degree, unwilling completely to deviate from, they're not afraid of Democrats, they're afraid of people who are more conservative than they are. And they're unwilling to deviate that for whatever those reasons are. And that keeps us from being able to communicate with each other, be in dialogue with each other, so that we can actually govern again. We haven't seen government in over 2 years. And it may be longer because of the obstructionist tactics that were employed when Obama was in office. As Mitch McConnell said when Barack Obama was elected, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure he's a one-term president. And from that point forward, there has been obstructionism. And nothing is sustainable in government unless it has a bipartisan element to it. You look at the Affordable Care Act, Republicans added 160 plus amendments to the Affordable Care Act, and then not one of them voted for it. And it's been under attack ever since. And so we know that there's got to be bipartisanship in order for government to function well. And that's the spirit that I will take to Washington when elected. That doesn't mean that I'll compromise my values. And don't confuse collaboration with capitulation. It doesn't mean I'll give in, but we have to have collaboration in order to find maybe those very small and few pockets of common ground where we can start the dialogue and build those relationships. Because if we stay in our silos, we know nothing's going to happen. And we're going to continue with this kind of divisive politics that we've experienced over these past 10 years. That's what I will take to Washington. That's the heart of what we need to be about. And I need your support in order to do that. And not just your support passionately. I don't need your support of positions or views. We have got to have an extraordinary turnout in November in order for this to be possible. If there's a low turnout in November, we lose. And Democrats all up and down the ballot lose. And if you have taken the time to look at the ballot, we have an incredible array of candidates this time, the best I've ever seen. Mike, wouldn't you agree? Mike's been very actively involved in certainly North Alabama politics and conducting 15 town hall forums so far.
16 going to 7.
Okay? Okay. Trying to get the word out, trying to get people energized about getting out and voting this time, because we do. We have Walt Maddox, Joe Siegelman, Bob Vance, Will Boyd, Peter Jofferion, Linda Meggs, Amy Wazaluka, Caroline, all up and down the ballot. They're just extraordinary candidates. Deborah Barrows and Jessica Barker, who had a breakfast this morning and is going to have a lunch later on. So a lot of good food out there today, folks. Make your way to political party after political party. But what we need for you to be active in engaging people and making sure that they don't sit home on November 6th. Now, there are a lot of registered voters who are in retirement homes who probably don't have a ride or a way to get there. Get your car and go over there and take somebody you know to the polls. Or 2 or 3 people, get them to the polls. There are 11,000 African Americans in Madison County who are not registered to vote right now. We are doing everything we can to get them registered to vote before November 6th. There are over 5,000 people in this county who are registered to vote who have not voted in the last 2 elections, or the last 3 elections. We got to get them out of the house to vote too. And if we do that, we know that we can flip the 5th, and we know that we can win all up and down the ballot. And if we don't, Mo's going to stay there, and so will the Republicans. And how does that affect us at all levels? It's the Senate and the House, it's the state legislature who draws the legislative districts. My district. They're the ones who've been gerrymandering this stuff. And it has not been to the benefit of Democrats, I can assure you of that. And with the 2020 census, there is a likelihood that Alabama's going to lose a seat in the House. And if Republicans are allowed to draw those districts, I can guarantee you we will not have but one safe district in this state. We've got to reclaim control of the House of Representatives and Congress. We've got to reclaim at least some measure of control in the State House as well. So are y'all ready to get engaged and get active here?
Yeah.
Are y'all ready to get engaged and get active? Yeah. All right. Well, help us flip the 5th and help us elect all these people up and down the ballot on November 6th. Anybody have any questions? Happy to answer them. Yes, Jen?
You mentioned the elderly homes. Do they let them vote right there? I mean, I've wondered about that. How many of those people? I know we tried to get into some of them before, and this, they really didn't let us in. But there are a lot, and they still like to vote.
They do, and I don't know how many precincts are actually based at a residential home or retirement home. Maybe none. But one thing what you can do is take them down to get an absentee ballot.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
That's good. That's
They
good.
do. Is that how they do it, Carolyn?
And or on the day of election, go pick them up and take them to their precinct.
Right.
If they are residential, if they have changed their residence address to that location, precinct has got to be close by. So it's not a far drive or a real heavy lift to get them.
Well, I just wondered because I know from my mother and father that they wanted to continue to vote.
I like that.